right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the work session for February 6, 2024. At 6 o'clock, I call this meeting to order. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Orndorff.
Here.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sui.
Here.
Commissioner.
It's a little loud.
A little loud. Imagine that.
You think it's that one, maybe?
No, it's usually when something's pointing to a speaker or to each other.
Maybe.
Took an engineer to fix it.
Commissioner Hewitt, move yours.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, boy, okay. Thank you.
Still there.
Commissioner Watson.
Here.
Commissioner Romanek.
Here.
If you could all stand for the salute of the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to this agenda?
No, Mayor.
On to our presentations for this evening. We have Barbara Fagley. Where I just saw her. There she is.
Right here.
Like I saw the green sweater. We've asked Barbara Fagley, who is the city planner, to come and present the re-examining of our master plan. This is something that she's working on with the planning board and a few of the members who have volunteered to help her out with this. So I'll to Barbara. It's off. We can turn it off.
Good evening. Now it's on. At the last planning board meeting, Mayor Orndorff requested that I provide an update on the master plan reexamination report that the commission authorized by resolution 257, 2023. In each of your places, I put a schedule of what we're doing and when we're shooting for it to be done. Hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. Anyway, at the planning board meeting, we appointed a subcommittee to assist in the preparation of the re-exam, and we met before the regular planning board meetings in December and in January. And February 12th, this coming Monday, will be our third meeting. And like I said, the schedule I've included for everyone's information, and the item that's required by the municipal land use law is shown first, the vision for the city, and then items A through F, and then in orange, what the deadline is for the discussion on the master plan re-exam. Anyway, we've already discussed the major problems and objectives relating to the land development in the municipality since the time of the last re-examination report. And then in January, we talked about the extent to which the problems and objectives have been reduced or have increased. We've also discussed a vision statement for the city, and the vision statement is kind of, what does the city want to be, or what will the city look like in the future? So having a good vision statement will lead to the recommendations needed in order for the city to become what the vision states. So on this coming Monday night, we're going to talk about the extent to which there have been significant changes in the assumptions and policies forming the basis for the master plan. And this includes a lot of things like population densities, distribution, land uses, housing conditions, circulation, a lot of different things, including changes in the state, the county, and municipal policies and objectives. And here I want to mention that the state is currently looking to redo the state development and redevelopment plan, which is dated 2001. So it's pretty old. They tried to adopt amendments to it. but they failed. So we're still dealing with the 2001 document. And there are portions in the State Development and Redevelopment Plan that aren't consistent with some of the current land uses proposed in the city that we did in August of 2023. So I'm going to be monitoring the state plan process. They're supposed to be unveiling it on April 8th, 2024, and the county is kind of taking the lead. It would be nice to know what they're thinking, but so far I haven't been able to find anything. And then after it's unveiled, after the state plan is unveiled, it'll come to each municipality for what they call a cross-acceptance process. And just because it's cross-acceptance, it doesn't mean that what the municipality wants is what you're going to see. So I'm just going to tell you, we're monitoring that. Anyway, based on the discussions of items A, B, and C, the March subcommittee meeting will focus on the specific changes recommended for the master plan and development regulations, if any. And that's probably the most important part of the master plan reexamination report. And because it's important and it can be very, very specific, recommending zoning changes or land development changes for, by block and lot if needed, or just more general in nature. Because it's so important, I'm allowing 2 months for that discussion to proceed. And then the next element's not typically that is involved as the other ones. This one is looking at whether or not the city should look to redevelop or declare an area in need of redevelopment at any other locations in the city. And many times if a municipality doesn't have a particular goal or a particular target area at the time, we can just state in the master plan re-exam that while there's no specific area, the city is open to that. They're in support of it, and redevelopment areas will be looked at, as they future development or requirements are needed. And then the last element, which is a fairly recent requirement, is looking at the locations that are appropriate for electric vehicle infrastructure. And this would be in commercial areas close to transportation, public rest stops, and any recommendations there. And I should mention that Chapter 30 Land Use and Development Regulations that were adopted on August 2nd included a section, it's section 3150.4, electric vehicle supply equipment, service equipment, and that was a new requirement of the municipal land use law. And these are included, anyone that comes in for a site plan that is of a certain number of parking spaces is required to reserve these, what they call make-ready spaces, so that if and when the need is, there for electric vehicle parking and charging stations, then, we have that in the ordinance already. So, in summary, because I know you have a really heavy agenda tonight, I really encourage all of you to feel free to email me or call me to contribute any thoughts you have about the master plan reexamination report, and I really welcome your thoughts on any of these items, the vision all the way A to F. So with that, I thank you, and if there's any questions, I'll answer them.
I have one that's related. I mean, you are the planner for the city, so how important is it for us to keep our infrastructure up to date with our plans?
Very important, because if you don't have, for instance, all the development that we're, looking to have out in the industrial park, if there's not infrastructure, if there's not public water or sewer or electric or South Jersey gas, then all those developments, what's the point of having them? They're not going to proceed.
Thank you.
Barbara, I appreciate you coming just before the commission and giving us an update. As you mentioned, if anybody else in the public had questions, they're obviously welcome to reach out to you. I'll ask questions on a Tuesday or next Monday's
Monday.
meeting. Monday's meeting.
Right.
Just because of time constraints here, but, I do appreciate this. I appreciate you taking this on. I appreciate the people on the planning board who stepped up to help out and address it, and, I just appreciate all the time and effort you put in.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public comment on agenda items only. If anybody would like to address the commission on agenda items, please come to the podium, state your name, your concerns, and please limit those comments to 5 minutes. Seeing nobody, will close the public comment on agenda items only for the work session. Discussion of commissioners, Commissioner Romanek,
Nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Just real quick, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in the meeting. The new ladder truck is in Millville. It will be in service in approximately 3 weeks. There's still a lot of training to go on it. So no matter what people hear, the truck can't go on the road until all the training's done. We started that today. And I'm going to be that one. I want to thank the prior commission for bonding this ladder truck that we just received. But this commission is going to have the responsibility of bonding another one because we got one that can't go on the road. With that, progress.
Commissioner Watson.
No, thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. First, I'd like to ask Susan Quinona, as our CFO, to come up and explain how the bond for the sewer department will not result in an increase in rates nor an increase in taxes. That's my first question for her, then I'll have one more for her.
Thank you.
The sewer bond for the clarifier, we're not looking to increase
Pull
rates.
the mic up, sorry.
We're
Just
not
looking
looking to increase any rates. It's not part of the tax rate, it's part of the sewer utility. We actually have debt that got paid off last year, so we have about $200,000 in prior loan payments that we were making that we're not making going forward. So normally when you do debt, anything coming off, you want to borrow more to keep everything balanced and level, so you don't have the ebbs and flows and spikes in your rates and your fees.
So in other words, we were making $200,000 payments on previous debt. We're not anymore. And these $200,000 payments will be applied to the new bond should it pass, and that way it results in no increases.
Correct.
Second, could you explain how the engineering firm, Wayne Johnson Engineering, is paid from two separate sources?
Okay. Well, for our engineer right now is not an employee, he is a contracted official. So as you can see, when we do resolutions, normally during the reorg meeting, we have resolutions for various professional services. And right now, our engineer is professional service contract. His fee is paid through a variety of sources, through current funds, sewer, water. If it comes to it, it would be solid waste that we have that now. Also paid through various escrows for projects, depending on what project that he's working on. So when his invoices come through, depending on exactly what works were performed, determines the budget accounts that we charge those fees to. So it's really a variety of funding sources.
Specifically to the sewer plant construction. So that's a
Yes.
separate funding source, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Johnson isn't paid from multiple sources at the same time. In other words, if he's working at the sewer plant, he's paid from, it would be the I-Bank, right?
Right.
And if he's working for the city on, let's say, a street, because that's specific to the city, then it'll be paid by the city.
Yes.
So he's not being paid double. He's not double
No,
dipping. in
it's
other
not double. Anything that is project-specific, that's something that was awarded separately, specifically the I-Bank and the clarifier will be paid out of that ordinance and that funding.
words. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions up here?
So to plain and simple, Wayne can only work so many hours a day. He's a human being.
One person.
Each place he's working, he will be billing that job to that contract.
Right. So it's basically cost accounting. So whatever hours are for that specific role is where that's going to be charged to.
Thank you.
I
For-
appreciate,
oh,
oh, sorry,
sorry.
go ahead. Go
No.
ahead. No, I was just gonna say thank you, but I didn't go. Go ahead.
Can you explain the iBank?
So the I-Bank is through the state of New Jersey. We actually received pamphlet the other day. Just hold on one second if I have it in front of me. Okay. They actually released a little iBank bulletin, and it gives some information on funding that's available, best practices for local units. The benefit of, it's the New Jersey Water Bank and Transportation is what's known as the iBank Infrastructure Bank. What it does is it gives better rates for municipalities to be able to do all of these infrastructure projects, whether it's water or sewer. The benefit is there are usually large portions of the overall cost that are forgivable when utilizing the iBank funds. And usually any interest rates on those loans are reduced more than just a normal bond issue. Anything that is water sewer related that is a larger infrastructure are long-term loans. It could be anywhere between 20, 30, 40 years. It really depends on the nature. So we can't borrow for longer than the useful life of whatever it is that the project is for. But really the long and short is the iBank is straight through the state of New Jersey, and we have no other opportunity to have large portions of the funding to be forgiven.
Now with the iBank, that's like, you said it's like a loan, right? So we have to pay that, correct?
Yes,
So that would come out of, what we pay in our sewer and water bill, correct?
yes.
So for what W.E. Johnson would be getting paid for, you would have, give me the breakdown, I guess it'd be out of your taxes of what we have for that professional service agreement. And then for what we pay for our sewer and water rate, essentially because we're using that loan to pay Mr. Johnson, that's a payment going to him from the ratepayers, correct?
Yeah, that would be through the ratepayers.
So but in this case, it's specific to the sewer utility.
Yes,
And additionally, I think you told me that $2 million of this loan is forgivable?
yes it is.
Okay, thank you.
$2 million is being forgivable, but if, venturing to say that if, Wayne Johnson was to receive like $300-some thousand to look over this project, that's $300-some thousand that can go into the cost of upgrading equipment in our plant instead of paying an engineer to oversee that.
Well, I'm sure Wayne will get into this later, but you have to have an engineer overseeing this project. This is not something that, we could hire a consultant, and a consultant will be much more than Mr. Johnson. We have emails, I believe, from Sal Joya, who was our superintendent of the sewer department, indicating much smaller projects cost a lot more money by hiring a consultant. Additionally, the consultant isn't going to look out for the city the way that Mr. Johnson is. We'll hear about his experience during the regular session, but a consultant is going to worry about covering his backside and making as much money as he can. Mr. Johnson has a long history with the city, and I'm sure he'll bring that up in the presentation as well as any questions that may be asked by the commission.
Well, that is my concern, that the person looking over the engineering project would be looking over his or her back. So the city engineer would have to, make sure that that person was completing their job. And that was
So I'm
really
gonna say a little bit of, let's get the meeting back to order, where we were asking questions of Susan, and I appreciate your time. Does anybody have any specific questions to Susan's point? Okay, did you have anything else?
Yes, I
Vice Mayor?
did. So recently, last week,
Not going to go back and forth tonight.
was it last week? What day did I meet with everybody? Whatever day, yeah, it must have been last week. I don't think it was yesterday. Yeah, last Wednesday. So I basically had office hours for people that wanted to ask questions. So the reason I did this is not to step on Mr. Watson's toes. This is Mr. Watson's baby. This is his department. This is his way of doing it. I happen to agree with it, but it's his baby. I appreciate all the hard work that him and his department did. But I was getting a lot of questions, and there was a lot of information that wasn't correct. So I was privileged enough to have spoken to 30 of my fellow citizens, which was good, pretty good turnout in my experience. And first I want to thank the person that brought me lunch and the person that brought me dinner, because that was a pretty long day, 9-hour day. And I want to thank Mary Orendorf for stopping by during part of it, as well as Commissioner Hewitt for stopping by. So there were several questions and complaints that were heard. The most common one that people said was they didn't know about it. So I explained how many times we talked about it at commission meetings, and we discussed how the fact that newspapers no longer cover Millville. and that the meetings are available live and they're available recorded on YouTube if you don't have the opportunity to come here. And by the way, I'm glad you're paying attention now, and I hope you pay attention well into the future so that when something does come up, we get your input before we do it rather than after. So that was the most common thing. Another common question was, will my taxes go down? And the answer is should, based on the value of your home. So basically, the present tax rate paid for trash plus any budget increases minus the amount that it costs for the trash utility will be your new tax rate. So they wanted to know if the city was making extra money. And the answer is no. This is revenue neutral. In other words, what it costs for the trash is what for the waste collection is what I think we're done with you, Susan.
Okay, that's fine by me, you got yours, so.
Sorry, is what we will be collecting. And the other question was, as a result of this, will we be reimbursing apartment complexes? The answer is no. Were we reimbursing apartment complexes before? The answer is again no. One thing that I did say that was, I called the landfill and I received a rate of $80+ for a ton of waste. Actually, for municipal waste, that is waste that the city delivers, either personally or through contractors, is $60 a ton. So that's what that is. Now, I want to look at how, right now, the city doesn't currently pick up waste from business or commercial properties or housing complexes, apartment complexes with 10 units or more, with the one exception of a condominium complex that's going to change. So the impact on the end user of the municipal waste pickup. Everyone pays the same for the same service under this program. Doesn't matter if you put out 2 pounds of trash or 100 pounds of trash. You're paying the same rate. And of course, everyone puts out a different amount as they did before the trash utility started. Now, the impact on the actual homeowner is a bill of $240 per year, $60 per quarter. Many of you got that bill. Not happy about it, didn't know about it. I understand that. So let's talk about your new tax rate for a minute. So your tax rate is reduced by the cost of the waste being transferred to the trash utility, plus any tax rate caused by budget increases, as I said. Now, you should all recognize that this is going to impact all of us differently depending on the value of your home. Because actual taxes that you pay are based on the assessed value of your property multiplied by the tax rate as a percentage. In other words, you're moving the decimal places 2 places to the left. So one unfortunate side effect of this is those with lower value homes will see the smallest decrease, while those with the highest value homes will see the largest dollar decrease. So it's going to be more expensive for some and less expensive for others, and the same price overall. So for example, let's say that the rate is 10 cents. So that means a decrease of 10 cents. That means a person with a $100,000 house is going to see a $100 less difference in their tax bill due to the trash. A person with a $200,000 house, under the same scenario of 10 cents, would see a $200 tax reduction. A person with a $500,000 house would see a $500 tax reduction, etc. So you guys should understand that. And that's all I have on that. That's why I had the meeting. And basically, that's the information that was given out, except for the last part when I did the calculations. And that's all I have.
I just wanted to kind of just touch on something that you talked about and think that we mentioned when we were at the meeting on Wednesday, was that it's a decrease in our taxes.
Tax rate.
On the tax rate. Right, so we just want to make sure it's a tax rate, not your actual taxes.
That
And we
all
might not
depends.
see it, if you see an increase, it's not necessarily just us. We also keep in mind it's the school board and the county that have taxes that
That's
usually get
correct.
raised too. So when you see
So
your
that
taxes go up,
that
it's
will
not
change-
just the municipality, it's also the
Right,
school
that will
board
change
and
your
the
overall
county.
rate, but not your
Overall
municipal
rate, not
tax
your,
rate.
right,
Correct.
correct. Just to make sure everybody's clear on that. I currently don't have anything for this meeting. Is there any current new business for the work session?
No, Mayor.
I thought we had a resolution for, oh, I just don't have it in here. It is in the bottom. Okay, sorry. We'll move down to the public comment for the work session. If anybody would like to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name, your address and those concerns, and please limit those comments to 5 minutes. Okay, seeing nobody, will close the public comment for the work session this evening, and I do have a resolution for this.
Yes,
Please.
so we have a resolution authorizing a closed session for the following matter: the DRBA lease agreement under attorney-client privilege and contract negotiations.
Move the resolution.
Second motion.
I have a motion and second on resolution number 1 for closed session. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
don't have to wait for them. We just say it. Talk loud.
Right, just need a motion to adjourn the work session.
Make a motion to adjourn the work session.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Second motion.
I just.
And then we just did.
Yes. I just closed it.
Oh, we closed, never mind.